let's see how it actually functions at the end of the day. So, what we want to start with when we talk about our way of doing things is we are going to make an estimate of an individual item, and that item will go on to a quote. Now, that means we could have multiple estimates on a single quote to send to a customer. We all know how our customers send you 10 parts in one shot, right? But as you're going to see me do, we're going to add our estimate. As you guys can see, we could either add a customer here on the fly, or if you notice here, mine is auto-populated. Now I could go through and add in my part numbers. So in this case, the customer wants 2001. They would like 12 of those. If you are using an internal invoice number or quote number, this is again a great thing to be able to self-identify an individual item or a group of items. Again, remember your estimate could have the same internal ID because they all came in the same customer email, right? Now from here, as you guys saw me do, we have our lovely material list. That is going to require a quantity based on whatever our increment of measure is. Guys, again, we know the increment of measure doesn't show up right now. It is literally in the works to get set up for Friday. But again, we're using round bar per inch, right? And what you're going to see is now what is the quantity that I'm going to need? Well, maybe I need 3 inches of material. It costs $2 per inch. We're marking it up 10%. Now, is that the cost? Again, big changes that have happened out here per part, or is it a flat rate? So again, this is where we kind of think of a lot charge, or maybe you want to order an entire bar of material. So again, we're going to go per part. I'm going to hit the plus sign. As you can see, again, if you guys are wondering out there why this math looks a little crazy, you have 12 times $2 times 3, up by 10%, spitting out almost $80 in material. Again, another example of this would be, is we're going to order some end mills for this. Maybe it's 2 end mills. Again, I don't need that costing per part. I need that as a flat rate. I'm going to consume 2 end mills as I make these parts. So this is where the speed really comes in. Keep in mind, guys, I'm explaining this to you, but the idea is that you are going to move extremely fast in these menus. We always want to keep it sub 60 seconds for you to achieve these tasks. So moving on, operations. What are operations? We like to look at it as what work center each item is going to go to. This part comes in, and we want to immediately program it in Fusion, or hopefully you've already programmed it in Fusion, and then this is where you're getting your time studies from. But we're going to actually put it directly on the saw. This is where I'm going to tell my operator, cut to 3 inches. Again, you're noticing that any information that I'm putting here, and this is part of the real big update, is we now have paper travelers where you'll see this information pass through. 5 minutes worth of setup. It's going to be a 1.75. Again, my costing rolled up. Now let's get dangerous with it, right? We're going to go from there. We're going to move it to the 520. Again, setup 1. And with that, we could go ahead and plug in our additional information. 20 minutes setup. Let's go ahead and do our 20 minutes worth of cycle time. And lastly, we're going to add a third work center, which is going to be a 510. One more time. This is going to be our setup 2. And let's just keep it easy. Let's go 30 and 10 this time around. So as you're seeing, as I progress through this, my costing is all rolling up automatically, as a lot of you have built out your spreadsheets at the end of the day, right? So we wanted to mimic this, but we wanted to mimic this in a way that it's auto-populating things like your pricing, your costing, and giving you the chance to front load something in the system. Now, we know you're not going to win every quote. The idea is when you're quoting in our software, you're much more accurate, which means your likelihood of winning should increase pretty dramatically. So again, lastly, let's go ahead and send this to plating. Yes, I get it, guys. You can't. Black oxide on aluminum. Probably possible. Somebody's probably tried it. Not realistic. But again, cost per part or flat rate costing. One last time, we'll add that in there. So let's go ahead and get this now saved. Now, one thing I'm going to show you guys here is we can attach files and documents to this quote as well. So this was a big ask from some people out there, is we're going to go ahead and save our estimate. And if you wanted to, oh man, I'm going to regret clicking this button. I don't know what's going to pop up in my downloads folder, but if you wanted to attach a specific file, I'm living pretty safe today. We're going to use my thumbnail. You guys like that thumbnail? AI. That's what AI thinks I look like when I smile. But we're going to go ahead and attach a file here just so you guys can see this. Again, we've uploaded a file, something specific to that operation. Maybe it's a drawing of raw material. Maybe it's a drawing or material search or something else, right? So again, as you guys are seeing me do, we can go ahead and update our estimate. Now I'm going to pause here because this was a big ask. Let's say I'm going to kind of do the same series of events time and time again. This is where I could immediately jump in and duplicate this estimate and change maybe 2 or 3 pieces of information. I could roll this onto a quote. We're going to do that here in a moment. Or I can now start to generate templates to speed up the entire process of creating my estimates. You could have a couple of estimates that are all built out around very simple workflows. Maybe everything in your shop comes in, goes to the saw, then maybe it's the lathe and then the mill. Well, you could do that with 10 work centers and then delete the ones that you don't like at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and hit duplicate. As you guys are going to see, we have the 2001. Let's say this customer now wants us to do 2002. I could go through here and change whatever I need to change. Maybe that part is going to be cut to 5 inches. They only need 6 of those. And again, setup on the saw is about the same, cycle time the same. Maybe we're looking at a little shorter setup, maybe a shorter running time. Again, let's go 20. And for some reason, this part's going to take 60 minutes. So as you're seeing me do, once again, I'm updating things with the intent that my pricing is automatically changing and my scheduling is happening all at the same time. So let's go ahead and update that estimate. And let's go ahead and jump back. Now, we could add this to a quote. I'm going to go for it. As you guys are going to see is if I already had an open quote, we could immediately put the estimate on the quote. Or I'm going to show you guys this a little different way. If I go to quotes, I could generate a quote here. We, again, are out here with multiple workflows that you're going to have to let us know what works the quickest for you. But as you're going to see, I have my 2 different parts in the system now. Again, if I go to either one, let's go ahead and throw this on a brand new quote. As you can see, it's automatically pulled my customer because I estimated said part against customer. And then we need to get our due date. Anybody in the world of machining knows everything was due yesterday. My internal IDs, things of this nature are already populated. And again, I can add to the estimate that other item. So again, we now have 2 line items, 2 different quotes, pricing for each, and the roll-up pushed through automatically. So moving on a little bit further down here, as you guys can see, if you wanted to add on additional line items, flat rate shipping, I don't know, whatever you guys are going to put on your quote, right? But with that, once you get everything populated, we can update our quote. From here, if you wanted to generate a PDF copy to send to your customer, these templates, guys, are customizable. We wanted to make it as simple as possible for you to operate and you to get out there and get things sold. So moving back, now that we've sent our customer the PDF, we're waiting, and hey, it may be 6 months down the road, but they came back and told us, you know what, those parts, we want them. So we can go ahead and accept this. Now that we've accepted that, as you guys are going to notice down below, I need to now convert my estimates over to get them on my job board. Now you can, of course, do all of them. You could do some of them. Again, this is all specific to each and every one of your workflows. So as you're going to see me do, I'm going to convert both of these in real time. And then this is where we are going to pivot from our work orders. Again, an estimate becomes a work order. An estimate is a part number. A work order is a part number. As you guys can see up here at the top, I may want to now go out and generate my actual paper travelers. So this is a really good thing. Again, we've added this in by popular demand. Sorry for anybody watching this video right now under a blanket and dark lighting. You may be blind, but now we have a paper traveler we can print and we could throw in our parts bin. You may put it on a clipboard on your floor, right? Now, the cool thing about this is everybody always asks that question. What happens if the internet goes down? What happens if the internet goes down? Well, you could access OhScrap from your cell phone. It's not a big deal. But like most things, we have a backup system for sign-offs and dates if you guys wanted to log your cycle times. We also have all of our instructions that have passed through automatically, bill of materials. Again, if you wanted to take this from square one and go put it in your shipping and receiving department so that they can sign off once material is here, we have that all accommodated on our paper traveler. So we're going to go back to our work orders. This is where, based on your permissions, you could have somebody only see the shop floor. Now, if you guys remember, we had to set up work center groups. If you notice, we have our 40/20 with fourth axis. We have our saw. If I untoggle this, I went ahead and hit the back button. If I go ahead and hit hide empties, you'll notice all my other work centers and my work center groups have populated automatically here. And if there was anything else inside of here, we would see that in real time.